So this is the site that would have been the Portishead Skate and Wheels Park at the Lake Grounds in Portishead, just opposite Esplanade Road and the sea. A beautiful summer's evening. And this field has never been used to its full potential, and even on the soapbox race day, people were not sat here using it, not even to picnic. It would have been ideal for our Portishead Skate and Wheels Park. So part one of the video ended when I said that some councillors do not like to be reminded of their part in refusing application for consent for a skate park that had achieved full planning permission and police support. Neither do they like to be reminded about their unsavoury conduct during the last few years. Whilst one executive member signed off that decision to refuse consent, many of his own political party colleagues contributed to the misleading information that reigned in Portishead during that time. Why is Portishead at the mercy of 6 executive North Somerset Council members, 3 of whom live in Portishead, but who do not seem to support and stand up for Portishead itself and its residents, particularly on planning? On the skate park, they didn't even support the democratic public consultation and chose to override democracy. We the people were once told by a town and district councillor still on the council today that we as residents, quote, must follow due process, close quote. Well, we did to the letter on the skate park, but he chose his very own personal route, placing whatever obstacles in the residents' path he wished, whether they were legitimate or not, even if it meant he breached his own code of conduct. I do not speak lightly on this, the written evidence is available. His misinformation was passed down to anyone who followed his political path, which is why now in 2018 we are still reminding him and other councillors of the facts. Fortunately, those facts came in useful this past year when 2 councillors chose to throw in further red herrings of sites that had been discussed previously. Video evidence exists of one councillor, David Pasley, telling the public that Slade Road did not need planning permission for a skate park. When he denies saying it when challenged, he could not pretend he could not remember, which is what has happened in the past, because the video evidence was clear. He could not say it was a slip of the tongue because that slip-up occurred on more than one occasion as evidenced. To prove that David Pasley was misleading the public, many residents grouped together to fund an application to North Somerset Council to seek clarification on planning permission. Our success was worth the financial loss. Another councillor misled the town into believing that Portishead Town Football Club was entirely responsible for the plans to develop Bristol Road playing fields, including a skate park. When the football club explained they had no input on the skate park in the plans, it transpired after several requests for information that an elected representative of Portishead Town Council, Peter Mitchell, had added the skate park diagram without any plans, without logistical investigation, without a suitability matrix or indeed any thorough research. Yet a hard-working, selfless group like Portishead Skate Park Project had to do all those things before they even went to the planning stage. Many of the current town councillors today insisted on one requirement after another. There is, it seems, one rule for political councillors and another for residents. When Mr Mitchell was challenged, he said, quote, "The people of Portishead, the majority of which actually elected us to represent them, have certainly not been misled into believing anything," close quote. Even when caught out, the denials continue. A similar thing happened with Somerset Football Association when Mr Mitchell told the public they were on board with the Bristol Road plans, when in fact Somerset FA later confirmed in writing they had told Mr Mitchell they were not. Why do some councillors feel the need to be anything less than open, honest and transparent? I also reminded Peter Mitchell that the majority of Portishead people did not elect him to represent them, just the small portion that went to the election. They expect honest representation. The important point I would like to make is, why should it be necessary to highlight the facts? Why do new councillors not read the historical evidence? They expect us to read information, so why not them? Over the last year, residents attending council meetings have been subjected to verbal confrontation for merely holding the councillors to account when they speak falsely or mislead. Even when residents have sent the councillors the written and video evidence. What has happened to politics in Portishead that we now have an air of mistrust and double standards when previously, years ago, we had no such problems? We used to treat each other with respect and politeness, even when disagreeing. I often feel that if such terrible politics goes on in Portishead, what on earth must go on behind the scenes in London? Perhaps it is best not to know, because dart-throwing accusations by one local councillor in Portishead towards a hard-working, selfless skatepark group, Portishead Skatepark Project, which turned out, of course, to be false, would no doubt translate into much worse defamation in central government. Worse again, outside the UK. I have over the last few years highlighted the appalling pavements within North Somerset Council in the High Street, despite Section 106 funding from Sainsbury's being agreed to improve these areas. Nobody appears to want to take responsibility on resolving the matter, with information either not forthcoming about land ownership or deemed confidentially sensitive. The question is, why are our residents having to take up challenge with North Somerset Council on improving our pedestrian areas instead of our elected representatives? I have been told in writing that the original donator of the agreed Section 106 funding must be consulted again before the money is spent. I cannot recall this happening on the infamous cab stand. If the donator has to be consulted again, then should the residents not also be consulted? After all, David Pasley confirmed in writing to one Portishead resident, quote, "In future, local people will be consulted before the legal agreement is signed and will therefore have a say in what the money is spent on," close quote. Clearly, the people who have a say is again those 6 executive members in North Somerset Council, because we then found out that £120,000 of Portishead's valuable Section 106 funding has been approved to be poached by North Somerset Council to bail the District Council out of its maintenance responsibilities for the precinct. I am still waiting to hear what our town will lose when such a large amount of funding is no longer available for what was promised in the Section 106 agreements. But praise to Councillor Coops, who changed her mind from originally suggesting the reallocation of this funding to the precinct to one of disagreement. She listened to the public and acted, and that's all we can hope from our councillors. We deserve that at least. So when North Somerset Council wants to spend another £45,000 of Portishead Section 106 funding in Weston-super-Mare for affordable homes instead of in Portishead, let's hope at least one district councillor, but hopefully more, is listening and challenges the decision. Praise to Town Councillor Jean Lord, who admitted her error in supporting the removal of residents' names from council minutes. She rightly changed her mind and proposed our names were once again included. I do not doubt that most Portishead residents want the best for our town. After all, we live here. I know, however, that some residents, who are also councillors, put their political party line before the town's interest. Indeed, I have some written evidence to confirm it. The only way to stop that happening is perhaps a truly independent council, and I would support wholeheartedly anybody who wanted that for Portishead, as I do. I reiterate, we do live in the best town in the world, and I will always stand up for it, particularly when I see injustice by anyone, residents or councillors alike. I would like to say well done to Portishead Carnival, who next weekend will start the procession down here at the lake grounds. Gemma and Wendy, they do a brilliant job, and all those who support them. And they're supported by many because those 2 girls have got integrity. Well done to Portishead Christmas Lights, because without that committee and its many supporters, Christmas in Portishead would be a darker place. Well done to Portishead in Bloom, who keep floral colour in our town, making it look so beautiful. The raft race and soapbox race are also great fun. I can only hope that the same light and spirit eventually returns to Portishead Town Council, and that we can all begin listening and working together again. But the public needs assurance that we will be treated with the respect that we are expected to give our town council. It's not much to ask, is it? But having recently, in the last week, received a letter from Portishead Town Council saying that my behaviour is being considered, without explaining what that behaviour is, but instead including a copy of the policy protection of staff, it does make me wonder quite what is going on within Portishead Town Council since the new chairman took over. Fortunately, I've always acted respectfully and courteously while I've been at council meetings. I don't tend to go down to the folk hall at all for any other reason but the council meetings. So the only way that they could be unhappy with my behaviour is because I have asked for freedom of information that is not available on the town council website, information that has been requested but has not been provided by Portishead Town Council. And the least I can do for my hometown of Portishead is stand up for it. And if that means asking for information that is crucial to decision making in our town, is crucial to enlightening everybody on misinformation and facts that are being obscured by Portishead Town Council, such as what really happened on the skate park, because even now the minutes regarding the skate park and landlord's consent at the lake grounds are incorrect. One has to wonder, why is politics so bad in Portishead? I can't answer that question, but I can date it back to when certain councillors joined. And with any hope in 2019, those councillors will perhaps not have their seats on the council, and normality will once again return to Portishead.